following through on your heart. We aren't necessarily taught to follow through on our heart. A lot of times we get so scrambled by our fears and our phobias, our pride, that we don't know the heart. As though we get out of the heart's rhythm. So I'm going to tell you the heart's rhythm is very simple. It's on the pursuit of joy. We are not so different from the honeybees. We're not so different from the tigers. We're not so different from the little foxes and the squirrels. When we make things very complicated, we indulge in mental intrigues, and those mental intrigues become illusions and fantasies, and if we get locked in that, we find ourselves without movement. We are here to move our lives. Think about the animals, the honeybees. They're moving. They're not just sitting around fantasizing or caught in some sort of mental intrigue of why they shouldn't do this because of X, Y, and Z, and then there's this, and then there's that. So complicated. But culturally, a lot of us are just in the head. But when we look at the joy of the animals in nature, untouched by human mental intrigue and that complication up in the head, just never-ending complication, never-ending. It's the pursuit and the hunt of balance and nutrients. It's pretty simple, okay? We are pretty simple beings when we're not scrambled, okay? So your heart rhythm wants vitality, because vitality gives you magnetism, and that magnetism draws to you opportunities for you to evolve, for you to experience your soul, for you to realize your potential. But if we don't have magnetism, we're kind of just like a shriveled up plant. We don't know how to receive nutrition. We don't know how to receive the sunlight because we're too dried up. We don't have enough opening. We don't have enough wideness of spirit to receive the abundance of the sun and the nutrients from the soil. And it's there. We just need to stop scrambling everything. So for me, in following through on the heart, it is a meditation, not just sitting there meditating for, 30 minutes or 8 hours if you're some sort of Tibetan monk kind of thing. It's facing your fear, because a lot of us, our heart, like I said, we're out of the rhythm of our heart. We're up in the head. Fear is not in the body. Fear is brought into the body from the thoughts. The thoughts we have emotional experiences to, and that's how it gets into the body. Meaning the fear, we get tense because it's our emotion. When we begin to bring all of our emotion into that mental intrigue, into that fear, that phobia, that narrative, just this and that, that's why I should follow my heart because in this and that, then it gets into our body. We begin to tense up, we get rigid, we get kind of closed off, we get kind of fearful and bored, and then kind of just that sort of thing. The body is meant to be loose. The body is meant to be agile. The body is meant to take many shapes and forms in a single life. And the very fact that maybe we're bored or we're doing something and we're like, it's not bringing liveliness or vitality is because we're ignoring our heart. Our heart is always giving us guidance. We just need to find our method that brings us out of the head and all of the, the mental intrigues and complications, the drama of it all. It gets, for some people it's fun, but then it gets exhausting. And then when it gets too exhausting, it's no fun, okay? So we all love to be scrambled up in the head. But it's important for us to recognize that joy is a simple thing. It's very authentic, it's very honest, it's very dignified, like the bees. There is no sort of complication. It's very clear what's going on and what is the purpose. It's pretty clear. Okay, even the tigers and all these kinds of things. But when we put in all of this complication, commotion, and fantasy of the human thought, that's when everything gets into, something just really scrambled and really hard to decipher and really hard to understand, and it's misappropriated all the time. Okay? That's misappropriated. And then we don't take responsibility. Oh, I'm a victim. That's the misappropriated. But the drive of the heart is to nourish the body so that the body has vitality, so that the body can nourish the ecosystem in whatever form that could be. Okay? So the body can nourish the ecosystem. But you cannot nourish the ecosystem if your body is not nourished. So if you're not allowing your heart to nourish itself, so you could be vital, then what you have to the ecosystem is really, you have no effect. You have no magnetism. The ecosystem doesn't respond to you. The ecosystem responds to nutrients because that's what it needs. It doesn't need disease. It needs nutrients. So that's why when we are vital, and that's the direction of following the heart, we can actually bring something vital to the ecosystem, which is joy. And joy, you can't fake it. You know what I'm saying? Because joy is the flexibility, the agility, the true rhythm of the heart. Not, let me sort of conceptualize what my heart rhythm sounds like in my head. No, I'm in my body, I'm in my heart, I'm moving with the rhythm of my spirit, of my heart. And for a lot of us, we have to constantly break through all of these barriers, brigades that we have around us of the childhood, and then the father phobia, and then the mother phobia, and then the past relationships, and then the failures in relationships, and then it's just disappointments, and it's just the brigade. We have to break through all the time. But what else are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Because the ecosystem needs you to be vital, because the ecosystem more than ever needs humanity to be nutrition. More than ever, because we are spilling out so much decay and disease into the ecosystem. More than ever, the ecosystem needs humanity to nourish the body so that the body can actually bring some nutrients to the ecosystem. So, when I think of following my heart, I think of strengthening my nervous system. You know what I'm saying? When you do something emotionally, psychologically, physically, that is challenging, that can be a little bit, you're shaking, that's a good thing. Because the shaking of the nervous system, the shaking of the emotions, the shaking of the psychology, the shaking of the body is you getting stronger. You are opening up your capacity to be of service to the ecosystem. You're opening up your capacity to receive vitality. We need you to have so much capacity to hold vitality in your body so that you can hold it big enough for all of the decay and disease on this planet. So when we follow our heart, it's heartfelt and it's sensitive, but it's intuitive. When we just live ignoring, kind of living checked out, I'm not going to do that, life is boring. It really gets boring. It gets stale. You know what I'm saying? And the dramas, we play that out in our head, but then eventually that gets exhausting and that gets boring. And then there comes this calling of the heart that asks of us to keep up with the vitality that our body wants to receive. And vitality isn't just, a nutrition bar or, doing some sort of yoga. It also can be like taking a leap of faith, traveling, moving a different place. It could be, starting writing a poetry book. It could be starting an art business, or you have like an art studio and you teach art. It could be going to school. Whatever it is, your heart is guided there because you feel vitality. You feel whatever it is that you need to integrate into your life is going to help you to be more of a fruitful embodiment rather than a fruitless embodiment that's just pushing until disease comes. You know what I'm saying? So, food for thought.